Shadow here, repping 52 BTK Concepts. And I just want to offer a little bit of insight into something that I realized yesterday was a misconception that some people have about 52 blocks. So, I had a discussion yesterday with a brother, fellow martial artist. We were discussing martial arts in general and 52 blocks in particular. And I can't remember exactly what the brother had said, but I was explaining, it prompted me to explain to the brother that there's a continuous flow in the 52 system. And I made the comparison to the yin-yang symbols, right, from Taoism. And I was saying how like the one flows into the other, meaning that the block flows into the attack and the attack flows into the block, right? There's a stream going there. It's not so much that there's a choppiness, right? There's a flow, boom, boom, I hit, I block, I hit, I block, boom, right? You should be able to transition from one to the other depending on how the fight is taking place. Fight is constantly moving, right? Your opponent is just standing still letting you beat the hell out of him, and you're not just standing still letting him beat the hell out of you. The two of you are moving, right? Both of you trying to gain position, trying to exploit weaknesses in the other person's defense or manipulate their offense to create weaknesses. I've said it before, 52 is a counteroffensive system, right? You either attack the person to attack or you're attacking the person directly. With that being the case, you have to be able to flow from attack to defense and back, or let's not say defense, right? I'm not a big fan of that word. So you have to flow from attack to counterattack and back to attack seamlessly, right? Because you don't want there to be a whole bunch of space in between. Well, when I say space, I mean like the beat, right? Like you don't want it to be boom, boom, like boom, 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 right? 1, 2, 3. See the beats? It's like a rhythm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? Like hitting the speed bag. When you first learn to hit the speed bag, they teach you that rhythm, right? You hit it 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. After a while, though, you start killing that beat in the middle. As you get more precise, as you get better at hitting the speed bag. It's the same thing with, it should be the same with every art, right? But I don't study every art, so I can't speak to every art. But with 52, that's the way it is, right? You want to kill that beat in the middle. So when I hit, the guy throws the punch, if I throw up this block right here, as soon as I feel contact right here, or even if it skids off and goes over my shoulder, as soon as I feel that I've made some type of contact with his limb, his attacking limb, my hand is coming out immediately, right? Boom. If I hit and he blocks that, right, boom, then I'm going to go back on block because I'm assuming that immediately following his defense, an offensive attack is coming, right? So since I'm assuming that, when I come here, I do this block, this strike, and he blocks that, I'm throwing up my next block, right? And again, the 52 structures, the structures in 52 blocks are not passive structures. They're not just sitting there. Every one of those blocks, every structure is an attack, right? You do skull and bones, see that energy skull and bones is coming across with? That's an elbow strike, right? If you did skull and bones coming straight in like this, that's an elbow strike, right? I throw my cool white guy up, that's an elbow strike, right? I bring it this way, that's an elbow strike, right? So every one of these structures serve a counteroffensive. That's why it's counteroffensive. Because you're constantly attacking. You're always attacking, right? I'm either attacking or counterattacking. I'm never sitting there being defensive and just absorbing blows, right? So going back to the scenario I just spoke about, if he attacks, I stop that attack, I counterattack, he blocks my attack, and he goes to counter, and I put this up. I'm putting this up with the intent because I'm always moving forward, right? So as I move forward, I'm trying to hit something with this. I either want to make his attack crash into that, or I want to hit him and drive him off balance with the point of it, right? Or if I'm, depending on how he's attacking, right? If I can parry the hand out the way and just come up the middle, boom. But I'm using this as a weapon, right? And right off of that, I'll go right into either this hammer fist strike right here or this hammer fist strike right here, right? Boom. This could be a strike grab into the next elbow. You see how that works? They flow right into each other, man. And even that, look, it's a block, right? So, again, I block, I strike, I block, strike, grab, right back into another block, which I'm using as a strike. Boom. See? In the next block and so on and such. And however the fight dictates that the movements flow. But they should flow, right? It should be a continuous flow, not broken rhythm, right? Broken rhythm has a place too, like the 52 footwork is a lot of broken rhythm to throw the person off. But for the most part, once you start attacking and counter-attacking, you're constantly moving from attack to counter-attack, attack to counter-attack, boom, boom, boom. Because the assumption is always the person is going to attack me back. Right, so I'm not going to be standing there doing, you know, like we in the boxing ring, right? And because the elbows are a much more potent weapon than the fist, I want to use those. I want to introduce those into the fight. So I get that block up, I hit that hammer fist strike right down here or down the side of his head or whatever, wherever it hits. But then I want to turn that into a grab, get the next elbow off, right? Boom. I get that elbow there. I can take that there and turn this into pop, pop. Right? So I hit there and pop him on the side of his neck. Boom. See how that works? Constantly attacking, man. Constantly moving. Constantly taking the initiative. Right, so just wanted to share that. If you're a 52 block practitioner, take that into consideration as you're practicing your form, right? As you're practicing your blocks. You should always practice as if you see the opponent in front of you and respond accordingly. When you see a good boxer shadow boxing, he's not just standing there throwing punches, he's moving, right? Because he's imagining the opponent throwing punches, so he's slipping punches, he's blocking, right? Boom, and he's getting his punches off, right? In a way that makes sense. Because if you don't see the opponent in your mind, what you do is you're just standing there flailing about. And you think you're doing something, but you're not really getting good work. So to get good work, you have to see the opponent in your mind, right? Start out with one opponent. Move up to 2, 3, 4. It could be 100, right? I mean, realistically speaking, you fight 100 people, you probably assed out, right? But it is, you know, have a little bit of fun with it, man. Right? The best way to train, the easiest way to train is make it fun for yourself. Enjoy what you're doing. Right? So, again, if you're a 52 block practitioner, take that into consideration. That seamlessness, right? If you're somebody who's interested in 52 blocks, right, and not really a practitioner, but you've picked up a couple things here and there, that's something for you to take into consideration as well. And if you're just a fighter, right, it's still something to take into consideration because, again, right, like I do Wing Chun also, and I also do Kali. In Kali, you look at Hubert, you got 1, 2, 3, strike, right? Boom. See all those beats? But eventually you get to where it's just 1, right? Boom. 1. Same thing with Wing Chun, right? You start out doing Pak Sao drill. Then from Pak Sao drill, you start doing Pak Da, right? And then from there, it's just a GQ, right? You don't need to do this anymore. You're actually using your strike as your Pak Sao, using the elbow, boom, it throws his head off, and you throw your punch. It's always about eliminating beats. Remember, the beat is a measurement of time. The more time it takes you to deliver your strike, the more opportunity your opponent has to do something, right? You as my brothers in the Gung Ho Swan community say, once you present the opportunity for your opponent to attack, you give him a say in the conversation because a fight is a conversation, right? So once you give him a say, now that conversation can go either way. You don't want to give him a say, you just want to dominate the conversation, right? So, boom, That's what you do. You dominate the conversation, and you want to dominate the conversation with eloquence and articulation, not just by being loud, right? Not with belligerence. See, just being loud in the conversation, all this trying to be super aggressive and no skill, right? You want to be able to articulate yourself physically the way you articulate yourself verbally. You want to be poised. You want to be able to use the right words to get the job done, so it's the right technique in the physical, right? You don't want to be flailing about. You want everything you do to have a set purpose. In the same way the people who speak for a living go to speech coaches and they practice their speeches and all of this stuff, you have to practice the same way. They practice as if they're standing in front of the crowd. They see the crowd out there with the response of the crowd. They're going through all that in their mind. When you're training, you have to do the same thing, right? See that. Be in that environment, man. See the opponent in front of you. See the opponents on either side of you. How you going to work out that problem? What you going to do? How you going to present your opponents with a set of dilemmas that there's really no good option, there's just a lesser of two evils, right? All of which benefit you. Practice that. Practice with that in mind, man. So with that, Shadow signing out. 52 VTK Concepts. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you on the other side. Harambe.